So guys, here it is. We've got the front of the 2017 STI torn down, and luckily it is a lot less involved than I thought it was going to be. A lot less got damaged in this collision. Now, I wasn't able to film us pulling out the frame, and I wasn't able to film, well, I was able to film us tearing it down, but I just, you know how I get. I get into it, start taking stuff apart, and forget to set up the camera and start recording. So we'll just do a post-autopsy report right here on what we found on taking the car down. So, as we were told, and I don't know if this is the truth or not, they were driving down the interstate, hit a sack of concrete or a cinder block or something, and we see it struck right here, off center to the left, and got the lower radiator support, crumpled the lower radiator support, destroyed the radiator, crumpled up the AC condenser, deployed the airbag for the driver knees and steering wheel, and still cannot figure out why, but both of the side impact airbags deployed as well. Not sure why that happened, and also our pretensioners blew on both of the front seat belts. So we already know that we're going to have to replace bare minimum all that stuff for the airbags, and we're going to have to replace the impact sensors here on the front as well because they have both tripped. I haven't scanned it yet, but with the front impact and the airbags deploying, they're likely no good because it's a one-time use kind of thing. Once they impact and trigger to fire the airbags, it's a one-and-done kind of situation. So we've got a brand new radiator support from Subaru. It's multiple pieces. It comes with this top wing, the centerpiece that bolts in, the upright here that the hood latch, which is here, bolts to, and we've got a bottom piece that tack welds on underneath this. Now there's also a piece here that once I got it tore apart, I realized I needed, and it's a flat piece here. It just spot welds to the end of the frame rail and comes down and meets that lower part of the radiator support. As you can see, it tore all the way through here, but we basically closed up that gap by pulling this out. Everything basically lined back up. We got the hood to line back up. We got the headlights and the fender to line back up. I'll show you that real quick. I was really concerned that the hood actually got bent because when it hit down here, the force of it being pulled in twisted the upper radiator support down, and it tweaked the headlights down, kind of tweaked this fender, and I was worried that, you know, this latch being held on, it got rolled in as well. But we did a little finessing to the hood. We've got our body gaps pretty good. We're a little bit wide over here, but we can massage that fender a little bit. And then this side is really good and even. So not really worried about that. Might have an issue when we get it back together with this latch. This latch might be slightly tweaked. I'm not sure if it's supposed to have this bend or if it got tweaked, but looks like the actual hood itself is good. Now, as far as parts, otherwise we're going to need, other than this radiator support, tack welding this end at the bottom, this piece over here. We know we need a radiator. The radiator was completely busted. As you can see right here, the bottom plastic tank tore out. I was going to replace it with a factory unit, but I might go with a Koyo full aluminum racing radiator just as an upgrade. Not exactly sure yet. Our fan on the driver's side, as you see, the shroud busted in multiple places, but the blades and the motor are still good, so I'm able to unbolt the motor and the blades and just get a new shroud, which I think I've got plenty of these shrouds at my house with some of the other Subarus. Now, one thing we didn't notice on the initial inspection of the car was that this shroud, this piece right here, actually this piece right here that broke off, actually did damage the timing belt cover. As you see right here, we've got a crack in the timing belt cover, and that's actually right there on the belt where that belt makes that loop over the cogged pulley before going around the water pump pulley. So glad we caught that, but we definitely need to replace this inside of this middle timing belt cover, but that's cheap. Looks like our top radiator hose is fine, but we might as well replace that. Lower hose appears to be fine as well, but it was severely deformed. It was pretty much crushed in flat like that, so we're just going ahead and replace it for the insurance of having a new hose and not worrying about it leaking or blowing out. All of this down here looks bad, but it's basically part of those two pieces of the radiator support. Other than that, we've got a pigtail here that got broken for our horn, And I think this is the ambient air temperature sensor. It broke, but not sure. I'll have to look through the parts catalog and make sure that's what that is. But otherwise, the whole front of the engine is perfectly fine. Our air pump, AC compressor, all our accessories, even the crank pulley here. It wore a little bit into those fan shrouds, but I don't think it hurt it. So really, really looking good here on the front end. So need to go through and modify my quote for the front end of this and get a new total. I know we're going to do a front bumper skin. We'll look at that in a minute. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go ahead and upgrade to the 2018 to 2021 front bumper skin instead of doing a 15 to 17 again, just so we can get rid of the fog lights and all. Even though the fog light housings were unharmed, turn signals were unharmed, everything worked. Headlights are still straight. We checked that on the shop door. They're still aligned, so no concerns there. Also, our impact bumper bar is still good as well, did not get tweaked. One thing that did take a nasty lick was the AC condenser. It got bent, but it did not leak. It did not fail. This system was still fully charged, and we recovered the refrigerant in it. So at least we don't have to buy refrigerant when we go to put the system back together, but we do need a AC condenser. As you see down the side here, we did have to take the side skirt off because we had to clamp on and anchor here to the floor when we were pulling that front, just so it wouldn't pull the car. So here's our impact beam or bumper bar. Everything's still flat and true on it, no issues there. It just barely got scuffed right here in the lower part of it. This is just the styrofoam insulator in there where it got busted up. But otherwise, this is perfectly fine and flat. It just literally bent that little corner down, but totally reusable right here. Could probably just put a pair of Knipex Cobras on that and bend that back out. No big sweat there. Then we got our side skirt here. We had to take the side skirt off again just to put that seam weld clamp on it so we could anchor the car while we're pulling it. And we did notice that this side skirt has been off the car already. I don't know if it came off during the initial wreck and they put it back on, but this clip here was not clipped in correctly and it was actually bent down and it wasn't sitting on the car right. And I think that clip's broken there. Also, this anchor point here for the push pin has broken off. We'll have to JB weld that back on there, plastic weld it, and we can also see it's got a brand new little pine cone clip in there. So definitely recently someone had this off. I assume that maybe it got pulled off in the initial issue, and the guy I bought the car from that worked at the Subaru body shop had rehung the side skirt. Lastly, we'll look at that front bumper cover. We already know that it got taken out here in the middle. The lower grille got knocked out and the lower part of the bumper got taken out, and the cover for the fog light over here got taken out. But again, all those housings worked, all those lights worked, everything was good there. But I'm not a real big fan of this front end. I think we're just going to go ahead and upgrade it to the later model front bumper cover. And it has a little bit more aggressive of a grille shape than this one, although we'll be taking out this grille emblem, STI emblem, and making some wall art or something out of it. And lastly, here's the brand new radiator support. Just picked it up from Subaru. Now this is a two-piece. This is the main part here. I don't think we really need these little wings on the side, so I think we're going to pop these tack welds here and just use the uprights in the bottom. And then we're going to unbolt this center section and the upright here where the hood latch attaches and the horn attaches, and use that in the center here. But only thing we really need to get otherwise is, all right, so this piece we were worried about because it tore right there, but it is included on this new upright, so we don't have to worry about that. This piece will be down here where that's bent up, so we just really need this one wing right here. I think that back piece is perfectly fine, or enough so that we can bend it back out, because this is really flimsy and thin sheet metal. They make these core supports, radiator supports out of now, so shouldn't be too much work to cut these spot welds out and put this new one in here, and everything pretty much line right up. So rather than bending in this frame rail, it took the hit here, tore here, and pulled away from it, so shouldn't be any issue with alignment when this goes back together. And for those of you interested or curious about the part number on these radiator supports, there's that part number. Sorry, it's upside down. And part number for the lower is right there, torn. There we go. 51231VA 0009P. So yeah, nowhere near as bad as I thought. I'll try to compile a quick parts list with my estimated prices and put it in the video somewhere on the screen over here with a total. And again, only $7 grand into this car, miraculously being a 17 with 85,000 miles. So don't think I'm gonna get hurt too bad on this deal once I get it put all back together. So before closing out the video, I don't know if I've posted about this or not, but I was able to find a used airbag for the steering wheel and for the knee bolster. I'd have it in the trunk on Facebook Marketplace for like 500 bucks, compared to this being nearly $500 new from the dealer and that being nearly $400. I think it was 900, 1,000 bucks for the two of them. So pretty good deal there. So guys, that'll do it for the video. The first video on working on the 2017 STI, the cheapest STI period. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all in the next one.